going on? Welcome back to 100% NUFC. So it's Watford away this weekend at Vicarage Road. Another tough game for us, Newcastle. We'll come off the back of a 1-0 defeat at West Brom at St James's Park on Saturday. Very disappointing. I know I might have sounded a little bit over the top, a little bit critical of Rafa Benitez, but sometimes you've got to realise we're being beaten off bottom of the league, West Brom. I know they've got a glimmer of hope of staying up. I don't think they will stay up. But when you're getting beat 1-0, against West Brom in your own patch, if you like, and not really responding, is very disappointing. Yes, you can let the lads off for, the 4 wins in a row, but the whole week was disappointing, really, because when you look at Everton and then you look at West Brom, really you should be picking up 4 points, because Everton aren't exactly been amazing this season. West Brom, they've struggled, yes, since Darren Moore's took over. They have really picked up, but we've been strong, at home this season. We've really picked up some good results, and that's why we are safe with, 4 or 5 games to go. And, I'm going to clap the lads right now, because that is a massive achievement to be safe. With 4 or 5 games to go, being a promoted team from the Championship, is a great thing. And that's all down to Rafa Benitez, the way he's, brought in these new players such as Kennedy, Slimani, and he's made that difference, with those players that we've got. Okay, Slimani will now be out for 3 games. We'll not see him for the remainder, or should I say, ever again, really, because I don't see Slimani ever playing for Newcastle again. You go back to Leicester, he didn't really care, but I've got to commend him for the assists, because if it wasn't for the assists, then we might not have got the win against Huddersfield, and and so on and so on. But yeah, opponents Watford this weekend. They're currently 13th in the league. They're on 38 points. There's a clutch of about 3 teams just behind Newcastle on 38 points. They've all played a game more. So we can take that as a positive. Watford, if they do beat us, I think they've got to score something like 10 or 11 goals just to go ahead of Newcastle in the table. So, it's going for us at the moment. And Watford really haven't had the best of seasons that they would have hoped. Watford, at the start of the season under Marco Silva, were looking really, really good. They were winning back-to-back games. They were currently, or the last time I checked, they were the top 4, top 6. Marco Silva, at the time, was linked with the Everton job, because under Ronald Koeman at the time, they weren't really at the best of, times and the best of starts for the money that Everton had spent. And, ever since he was linked with that job, and then obviously didn't come to fruition because Sam Allardyce got it. I don't know what happened to Watford, but the players just seem to have dropped. They didn't really play anymore for him, and I felt a bit sorry for Marco Silva, because I quite liked him. I think he was a good manager. He comes across really well. He was unlucky with Hull City, really, because they put a late fight on. At the end of that season, last season, they could have stayed up. But obviously losing to Sunderland, a team that had already been relegated pretty much, ended Hull's, stay in the Premier League. So you went on to Watford. You had a really good start, and they beat us 3-0 at St James's Park. That's probably one of the darkest days in terms of home performances, losses at St James's Park this season. We didn't really show up. We got totally owned by Watford. They came with a game plan, and we had no answer. And this is where I started to worry, because if we want to stay in the Premier League, you've got to win your home games. I've said that all season, and we've done that in the last few months. And you've got to give credit to the squad for listening to Rafa Benitez and taking in everything that he said. And Watford have got some good players, but ever since they brought the new manager in, and I don't personally just want to blame him, because he's coming into a new country with a new culture, a new league, a way of playing, and they're not his players. He's kind of motivating them to the end of the season to try and get the results. They're safe. Watford are currently middle of the table, but if he maybe come in from the start with that squad, Watford might have been at the bottom of the league. So they should count themselves lucky that Marco Silva got them to to the start that he did, and they were picking up the points. And they've got some really good players. Richarlison there, he's a really good player. He likes to get forward. He's predominantly see him on the wing. He's really dropped off since the end of the season, but overall he's a really good player. He caused us problems, and it depends who they play in that number 10. Will they play Tom Cleverley? Who they're going to play up front? Will they play Troy Deeney, or will they go with the pace? But that just depends, because Watford always seem to change their team, and we're going to have to be on our guard, because Watford they're so hitty missy. They are half decent at Vicarage Road, but that's not to say that we can't go there and get something. So our form going into this game at Vicarage Road, not great the last couple of results, but I don't see that, why we can't go there and get something. I know the season is pretty much dead now. We can still play, or if we win this game on Saturday, we can pretty much say that's our top 10, done, for the season. And if we can finish in the top 10, that's a massive achievement considering how much we've spent and where we've come from. as a club of Newcastle sides, we should be there anyway. You shouldn't be, wanting to just stay in the Premier League, because that's not the ambition of this football club. It should be always, to challenge at every one moment and challenge every team, fight for every point and to not give up. People in this city work hard, for what they earn, and you've got to give that back on the pitch, and they're starting to show that. Under Rafa Benitez, they're starting to, show that they do care about the club and how Rafa wants to work, with these players, and they're taking everything on board. You have got to give a lot of credit to the loan players, of course, but I'm sure next season we'll be working on a few things, hopefully with some money to spend, can really kick on. And, if we don't make the top 10, I think the lowest we could finish is about 13th. But even if we can finish 13th, that's not the end of the world. It's good. We're in the middle of the table. Everybody would have said, that this season we're going to be finishing, with maybe 15th or 16th with a game to spare or going down to the last day. So the fact it hasn't, you've got to give credit to Rafa Benitez and the whole team for the way they've just listened to what he said, and they've taken that on board, and they've given the results that we fully deserve as fans. And the results, haven't been flukes. The last 4 results were fully deserved. The results, we've played so well, and we can go to Watford with no fear. Yes, West Brom was disappointing, but Watford are another team where, if he can get the first goal, he can shut them off. We can cause them problems. It depends who Rafa picks. I'd like to see Rafa Benitez mix the team around a little bit. Why can't he bring in Christian Atsu from the cold? Chancellor Mbemba at the back. Maybe he's Kieran Clark. Give Flynn Rajon maybe a rest. Richie, give him a rest. Get tried and tested. Slimani will not be playing. He's obviously out now for 3 games of what he did against West Brom, which is totally unacceptable in any level of football. You shouldn't stamp out whether it's minimal or whatever. You shouldn't do it. It's not allowed, and he's only got himself to blame. He'll go back to Leicester now, and you'll just go from there. But it's going to be a tough game. Regardless if it's like a dead fixture, we should go there with a positive attitude that we want to go there and win. A draw isn't the worst result in the world. It'll still keep we're solid in that top 10 with a couple of games to go. Tottenham next week, and then followed by the close of Chelsea at St James's. So Watford, they're not the best team. I don't want to sound really bad here. I think they're not the worst team I've seen, but they're not brilliant in parts. So we've got every opportunity to go to Vicarage Road and get something and silence the crowd. We'll be taking our fans there on Saturday, and we'll be loud and proud as ever. But let's just blot out what happened against West Brom at home and just continue what we can do best and go and get the result. That's all you can do. If you get the result, get the point, 3 points, run, take it, and then we'll move on to Tottenham, at Wembley next week. So in terms of a score prediction, it's a tough one, because I could say a win, but then it's away from home and it's Newcastle. Wins away from home don't really come, regular. Obviously, the last win against Leicester was our last win away from home, 2-1, which was brilliant. Leicester were pretty poor on the day. But I'm going to go for a 1-1. I'll take a 1-1 draw, or any sort of draw. If it's a point, and take it, and we'll move on to Tottenham. Then at least we can stop the 2 defeats in a row. I know it's not the end of the world, but as a fan, you still want to have a really still a good end to the season, and to end it on a high, and to show that you still care about the season and the fans that are turning up. So yeah, 1-1 I'm going to go for. Leave me your comments down below of score predictions as well. Team lineups, who would you like to see on Saturday at the start for Newcastle against Watford as well? And yeah, I obviously won't be down there as with other things going on, but hopefully try and be at the Chelsea game next Sunday, providing that other things aren't going to be in the way, and get tickets and things like that. So yeah, thank you very much for watching the preview. Hope you enjoyed it. How are the lads? Enjoy the game, and I'll see you all later. Peace.